The biggest gift that human design gave me is literally, it was like a giant permission slip to stop trying to be somebody I'm not. You don't have to build your business the way everyone else does. You can build it in a way that honors your design, and you should. And it will feel so much better when you do, especially if it means preventing you from burnout. You're building it according to your design. And when you do that, you guys, it becomes a business that is sustainable, soul aligned, and deeply fulfilling. We all should wake up every day working in a business that feels fulfilling for us. You deserve that. Give yourself permission to do that.
Welcome to Next Level You podcast. I'm Stefanie Dingbaum, your host, your biggest cheerleader, and your go-to girlfriend for real, raw, and uplifting conversations about leveling up in life. As a mental health therapist with over a decade of experience and a business coach helping women elevate their lives and businesses, I'm here to guide you through the mindset shifts, holistic practices, and manifestation tools you need to step into your most authentic, next level self. Whether you're here to ignite your personal growth, elevate your professional game, or simply rediscover you, this podcast is your invitation to dream bigger, go after your goals, and unapologetically claim the life you deserve. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. It's time to up-level, manifest, and glow.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Next Level You podcast. I am recording today's solo episode all about how I implemented my human design chart and information into building a soul-aligned business. If you are new to human design, I really encourage you to go back. I have previous episodes where I brought experts on to talk specifically about human design. I would highly recommend you go back to last week's collab with Anna Nichols and listen to that episode prior to this one. Not that this is a part 2. You absolutely don't have to. However, I would recommend it because that gives you a really great baseline into what I'm talking about today, and you'll have a better understanding. What I really want today to feel like for you is I want it to feel almost like a roadmap for you of how you could go about implementing or incorporating your own human design chart and information into the building of your own business. So it truly is soul aligned. There was something I heard earlier this week from an expander on, I can't remember what podcast it was now, or maybe it was an Instagram story. Honestly, I can't remember, but they were saying about how when you incorporate your human design chart into the building of your business, you really are building a soul-aligned business. And why that is because you guys, it incorporates astrology among other things, but astrology has been around for decades. It is not a new concept. It's been around for decades, you guys. And so how the stars aligned on the day we were born, how the planets aligned on the days we were born, all comes into play with parts of our personality, how we show up in life, with what resonates with us, with what doesn't. And that all comes through in our human design chart. So I'm going to put a brief plug in. If you haven't taken advantage of the freebie from last week's collab, even more of a reason to go back and listen to that episode, and then go into the show notes and download that freebie, because Anna Nichols has it's called Your Entrepreneur by Design. It's a human design for business report specifically for you and your specific human design. It's from her business, the Spiritual Business Incubator. And you guys, it's a 60-page report, super in-depth report, and it literally breaks down your specific human design type and all the other factors of it and how you could incorporate that into your business. You guys, this is literally like a blueprint for building your business. And then if you do this, it's guaranteed that you're building a soul-aligned business. So before you listen to today's episode, I highly recommend you download that report, because I'm going to be going through my report kind of section by section today. And if you have yours in front of you, that's going to be really helpful. And if you don't, that's okay, but maybe take notes as you're listening then, okay? If you listen to last week's collab with Anna Nichols, then you have a decent foundation for what human design is. This week, I'm really pulling back the curtain on my chart, and I'm showing you exactly how I'm using that to build a business that actually feels aligned, sustainable, and soul-led. So I'm a projector with a 3-5 profile. And when I first learned what that meant, my eyes were opened to so much about my life, about my business, about my struggles. It all came together and made sense. But more importantly, it gave me a roadmap for how to build differently. Because up until I learned about human design, I was really just following what other people were doing in business. I was watching others and thinking, I have to do this how they're doing it, or I have to show up how they're showing up. And it wasn't feeling aligned for me. In fact, it was making me really bitter. And that we'll dive into that a little bit later, but that's how I know I'm not in alignment is when I experience that bitterness. So, to set the tone for today's episode, this is not just theory that I'm sharing with you guys, okay? This is practical application. I'm literally going to show you what I learned from my human design report and how I'm using it to grow and scale my business so that I don't burn out. And that's the key, you guys. If you're building a business, or if you've been building a business, or if you're thinking about starting a business, you do not want to burn out in this. That is a lot of wasted time and energy if you end up burning out. And you don't have to. That's the thing. It's a very limited belief if you think like it's inevitable. I'm going to burn out. No, you're not. And we need to work through that if that's a belief you're carrying. So let's just dive in. Before we do it, I got to turn my heater on. My office is in my basement and I am always cold down here. I have a heater under my desk that is almost always running. I need to drink water. Okay. Not that you need a reminder of what human design is, but in case you're not going to go back and listen to those previous episodes about it, let me just break it down very briefly. Okay. So human design is a system that combines astrology, and I'm probably not going to pronounce this right, the I Ching. Yeah, the I Ching. It combines Kabbalah. If you don't know about Kabbalah, this is total side note. If you don't know about Kabbalah, you should listen to David Guillaume's podcast and take his online course. It is so interesting. So learn about Kabbalah if you have not yet, or write a note to look more into that, and then follow David Guillaume on Instagram as well. So, anyways, I digress. It's a system that combines astrology, the I Ching, Kabbalah, chakras, and quantum physics to ultimately create a personalized blueprint of how you're designed to operate energetically. So, you guys, if you're following this report from Anna Nichols from the Spiritual Business Incubator, you're going to have that soul line business because you're listening to your body's energetic aberration system. It's so freaking powerful and it lights me up inside. I just love this stuff. Your chart shows you, if you first look at your chart, it probably looks confusing AF. I mean, when I first looked at it, I was like, what do all these numbers mean? What do these colors mean? What do these symbols mean? I mean, I was so freaking confused. Okay. But your chart shows you different things like your type, like I'm a projector, your strategy, which as I'm sharing this, I might as well share what my strategy is. So my type is a projector. My strategy is I wait for the invitation. It shows you your authority. My authority is I'm an emotional solar plexus. And I'll explain all of this a little bit later. It shows you your profile, which my profile is I'm a 3-5. It shows you your centers. It shows you your gates. It shows you your channels and basically how you're wired to make decisions, to use your energy, to interact with others, and ultimately how you move through the world. So you can see how all of this really does mean you're building a soul aligned business. And this matters for your business because like I said before, most business advice is designed for one type of person. And truth be told, most business advice is designed typically for manifestors or generators. But if you're not that type and you're following that advice, you will burn out. I definitely would have burnt out by now if I continued to follow advice or continued to follow in the footsteps of others that I was watching from afar. You will end up frustrated. You will end up feeling stuck. You cannot just follow what everyone else does. It's not going to work for you. Human design shows you how to build a business that works with your energy versus against it. So if this resonates, then you need to dive into this. Okay. So let's just dive into my chart and how I'm using it to build my business. So again, I said I'm a projector. And what that means is So projectors make up about 20% of the population. As far as like the energy type for a projector, we are considered non energy beings. We don't have consistent, sustainable energy like generators or manifesting generators do. Okay. That's really important that we take that into consideration. So, for instance, I'm not meant to work an 8-hour day. Okay. And when I do, I am mentally and physically exhausted. Ideally, I am working approximately 4 hours a day. And that's why I try to no longer see more than 4 therapy clients a day or coaching clients a day because I have recognized that I'm not my best self after that. I literally feeling drained. So take that into consideration if you're a projector. Our role as a projector is we're here to guide, manage, and see others. We have a gift for seeing people deeply and understanding systems and offering wisdom. That resonates with me on such a deep level. Like, that is who I am at my core. I fully I feel things so deeply. I see people deeply. I have this understanding of systems that is different from how other people look at it. And I have this level of wisdom that I don't always let on that I have it. I mean, more often than not, it's like I keep it to myself. But since I've given myself permission to speak out more, I'm offering that more and more. But I'm more likely to offer it when the invite comes in. And I'll explain that here in a little bit. Our strategy is you wait for the invitation. So that's exactly what I mean when I say I'm less likely to share my deep knowledge and wisdom with you if you're not asking for it. So I truly do wait for the invitation. I don't chase clients, I don't chase after them. They come to me and then I share everything that I know with them that could help them. I truly, waiting for that invitation is a big part of my business. I have never had to chase therapy clients, they have always found me. And I have been full since 6 months into my private practice, you guys. So, in regards to like waiting for the invitation, as projectors, we're not designed to initiate or force things. We're designed to be recognized and invited into opportunities. And when that recognition and that invite comes, that is then when I act. That is then when I divulge all that I know. That is then when I like go deep with you. So that's really important to know, specifically in how you're building your own business. If you're a projector and you find that you are constantly chasing after clients, you might need to make that switch energetically speaking. And then I guarantee if you were to make that switch, you will find aligned clients coming to you in waves. So in my business specifically, what this means for me is I don't hustle like a generator. Okay. If I try to work 40 to 60 hours a week, like society tells us we should, I will burn out. And I have before. I've tried that before. And both times I have burnt out. In both of my previous 9 to 5 jobs, I have approached it that way and it was not good for me. And it did lead to burnout for me. I'm just not designed to show up that way energetically, how I am built. I'm designed to wait for the right opportunities, the right people, and the right invitations. And when those come to me, then I act, then I move, then you will see aligned action from me. And the other thing to know is my energy is finite. I have bursts of energy, but I need the rest to recharge to show up the next day or the next session. I can't be like on all the time. It just doesn't work for me, which is also really important. That's why I limit myself to 4 sessions a day because I can't be on for 6 sessions a day now. I'm not my best self. Like I said, I've really seen signs of this play out in my life in both my previous jobs. When I showed up with that energy of like, I'm here to hustle, I'm here to give all, it was a fast track to burnout for me. And it did backfire in a big way. I ended up being resentful. I ended up being exhausted in those jobs. Therefore, I wasn't giving my best self to my clients or my colleagues or coworkers. And when I learned about my human design type when I first started my private practice, that changed how I approached marketing in a huge way. And even now with like collaborations and partnerships, I wait for the invitation. When the invitation is put out there, I act fast on it because more often than not, it does feel aligned. And then honestly, when the clients come that way, they feel more effortless and they feel more aligned. So, other ways that I'm seeing this or I'm practicing this in my business is I'm not forcing clients to come to me. Like I said, I'm not cold pitching. That's just not me. That's not my vibe. I'm not chasing after clients and I'm not overworking to prove myself to my audience. I am focusing on visibility and magnetism in a rather big way. I do put my energy into my podcast, being seen, social media, content, things like that, because then that leads to the right people finding me. And that's what leads to invites coming in for me. So you probably have noticed I have a social media manager now. So I am putting more effort into how I'm being seen online because I see an ROI that comes out of that. I really am. That's huge for me. Another piece that I want to mention is I'm building systems that honor my energy. I try to batch content, I try to delegate what I can. I do take full days off here and there, sometimes for self care, sometimes just to have an admin day at home so I can play catch up. But I have to build systems that honor my energy or my clients aren't getting my best self and my energy is suffering in the long run and I'm not bringing in ideal clients then. I cannot fill my calendar just to feel productive. I cannot do that. I need down days. I need at least one down day a week to feel productive and feel like my best self. And that downtime is when you've heard me say this before, that's when I get the biggest downloads. And those downloads is what moves the needle in my business. And then the last thing I want to say is I just have to trust the timing. When an opportunity feels forced, I have found that I need to let it go. When I get people DMing me over and over again about the same opportunity, some could say, oh, that's an invite. Yeah, maybe, but sometimes it feels really forced, especially when you tell me there's a time limit on that. Then I'm like, no, don't put me in a box like that. I will make decisions that feel aligned, but if it's feeling forced, I'm going to let it go. And that's when I know I'm making the right decision. When an invitation feels aligned, I feel it in my body. It's a fuck yes. I say yes. Even if a part of me is scared, I say yes. When I started functioning this way in my business, I did notice a shift. Prior to realizing all of this, I thought something was wrong with me because I was getting exhausted easily because I was trying to run my business how I saw others running theirs. I was very much bringing that hustle mentality into it. It was not working for me. I wasn't seeing clients flood in, and it was a problem. I was truly trying to show up as somebody that I was not and as something that I'm not. So learning about being a projector ultimately was like this giant permission slip to build my business my way. And it's been the most freeing and liberating thing that I've ever done. So, if this resonates with you, get to know more about your human design type, you guys, because you might be building your business just from the wrong side of things. Okay, now I want to dive in to my profiles. I'm a 3-5, which means a 3 means I'm an experimenter, a 5 means I'm a heretic. So, to give you an idea of what the 3-5 means, line 3 in my chart is the conscious part of me. Line 5 in my chart is the unconscious part of me. Line 3, called the experimenter or the martyr, means I'm here to try things. I'm here to make mistakes. I'm here to learn through trial and error and then ultimately share what I'm learning. You guys, that's literally the whole reason behind the podcast. When I read that part of my profile, it was like a light bulb moment for me. It was like, oh my God, that's literally why I started the podcast. Is I've learned so much in this short time I've been on this earth that I just felt like I need to share what I've learned with the world. People need to hear what I have to say. People need to learn through me. I've made mistakes. I've done things through trial and error. I know what works and what doesn't. It was so validating. So the podcast is not going away because this is truly just, it's soul aligned for me. Line 5 is the heretic or general. So what this means is people tend to project onto me. They see me as someone who has solutions or answers or someone who can, quote, save them, even if I actually never claimed that title. This is important to know. For me, I literally have seen this play out so many times in my life, growing up and even as an adult. People in my friend group coming to me, people that maybe from the community coming to me, people in my family coming to me for solutions or answers, even when I never claimed that I have them. It's wild how I've seen this play out in my life. Again, that really feeds into why I did the podcast as well. So how I'm really like implementing this in my life with line 3, I'm constantly experimenting. I'm constantly trying new things. I'm giving myself permission to pivot if I need to. Has there been failure? Yes, but I've learned from that and I've grown from that. And that's all by design, you guys, because I'm actually, according to line 3, I'm actually not supposed to get it right the first time. again, a permission slip that I needed. And then line 5, as the heretic or the general, people expect a lot from me. They see me as someone who can solve their problems. It's probably a big reason why I became a therapist. And sometimes that feels like a lot of pressure, especially in like my personal relationships. But professionally speaking, that's a hat that I am glad to wear and I take honor in that. So you can see how what I'm doing professionally feels so aligned for me based off of this profile. So dig into your profile, find out what those numbers mean. And are they being applied in your business? Are they being applied in your life in some way, shape, or form? Just to give you a brief, the combination of a 3 and a 5 aligns an experiential approach to life, characterized by trial and error with an aura that attracts others, often eliciting projections or expectations. Your energy seamlessly weaves between hands-on learning and navigating the complex dynamics of societal perceptions. And then specifically for 3, says the third line of your profile embodies your experimental nature. Life for you is a laboratory, and you learn best through direct experience, even if that means making mistakes along the way. These mistakes are not setbacks, but invaluable lessons. They shape your understanding and resilience, allowing you to uncover what truly works and what doesn't. And then for line 5, it says your fifth line positions you as a focal point for others. People are drawn to you, often seeing you as a source of solutions or as someone possessing qualities that they admire or desire. This projection can be both empowering and challenging. While it offers you a platform and influence, it also brings the weight of responsibility as others may place upon you their hopes and expectations. So, real quick, it says navigating this profile, the 3-5 profile, demands a keen awareness of these dynamics. Your martyr side will continually push you to explore, experiment, and adapt, while your heretic side will require you to manage and sometimes meet the projections of others. And it's crucial to strike a balance, honoring your need for experiential growth while also understanding the broader impact you have on those around you. So freaking powerful, you guys. So you can see how this report really breaks it down in such an easy to digest way. So again, download this report if you haven't. I'll put the link in the show notes for you guys. Okay, so just in short, how I'm applying my profile to my business is specifically for line 3, as far as like embracing the experiment, I give myself permission to try things and fail. It's fine. That's how I'm supposed to lead. I share my experiments publicly. That's what the podcast is for. I pivot without shame. Truly, it's my business. I can pivot whenever I freaking want to. I'm in control here, which is a big reason I think why I needed to own my own business. I can't be under somebody else's control. I need to be able to pivot when I need to, when I feel aligned to. And then for line 5, with managing projections from others, I'm clear about what I can and can't do in business. I'm very clear in my therapy intakes about what I do focus on, what I do specialize in, and what I don't. I'm not here to fix everybody. I have my niche, my ideal clients. Outside of that, I likely will not see you. I set those boundaries. That's another big part of line 5 is I set those boundaries. I'm not taking everyone on. You guys, I in the beginning felt like I could coach just about any entrepreneur, but now I've really niched down to specifically wanting to coach female entrepreneurs who are burnt out from the hustle and grind of their 9 to 5 or corporate job and are wanting to go all in on building that soul aligned business. That's my boundaries. That's who I work with. Can I work with others? Absolutely. Do I? More often than not, no, because I get more fulfillment out of that specific niche. And then the last thing I'll say about line 5 is I own my expertise, but I try to stay humble about it because people do project this like guru like energy onto me. I notice that time and time again. And I can accept that I do have wisdom to share. I can absolutely accept that. But I need to be able to accept that without letting it get to my head too much and not letting it pressure me into being somebody that I'm not. I'm all about showing up authentically. That's just really important to me. So, real quick, before I actually understood what this whole like 3-5 profile meant, I really did feel shame when certain clients didn't work out for me. And now looking back, it's like, oh, but they weren't meant to, Stephanie. They were not an ideal client for you. I also felt this pressure to like live up to other people's expectations, like how other entrepreneurs are running their business. But now I know that because experimentation is part of my path and part of my journey, I don't have to carry that anymore. So ultimately, my 3-5 profile taught me that I don't have to have it all figured out. I just have to keep experimenting and learning, and then ultimately sharing what I discover along the way, which again, that's why the podcast is here. I just love that theme that comes throughout this report about just like the validation that, like, yep, I'm meant to be doing this podcast. Okay, so briefly, some other key insights from my chart that I'm also applying in business. And I'm not going to dive too deep into all of this, though, trust me, I could, but I don't know if it would really help you guys out that much. But I mentioned earlier my authority. So, my authority is I'm an emotional solar plexus. What this means is so ultimately, your authority is how you're designed to make decisions. And how I've applied this in my business decisions is I apply it to how I make hiring decisions, launching decisions, whether to say yes or no to something. For emotional solar plexus authority, what this means, and I'm reading this directly from my report is it says there is no truth in the present moment. Therefore, you never make significant decisions spontaneously. You give yourself at least one night to sleep on them. I seriously do that every single time now, you guys. I do not make impulsive decisions anymore. It says your current mood influences your perception. You need time to ride the highs and lows of your emotional wave. Only then will clarity be achieved, even though it may never feel 100% certain. And that describes me to a T. It's so wild. It also says before making a significant decision, you let your nervousness subside. If you are overly excited or agitated, it is not the right time. It is crucial for you to pause and wait for clarity. Another indication of a good decision is when it remains consistent regardless of your mood. As long as you waver, you are not making a choice. Through inner peace and serenity, you recognize that you feel comfortable with the decision. So ultimately, I need to like let it sit and literally just wait through the emotional wave before making specifically like big decisions. I see that come through time and time again. I need time to make decisions. I need to ride that emotional wave to see if that clarity comes through. I need to see if that excitement is still there as I'm experiencing the full spectrum of emotions. I have to observe my feelings and see if they change over time. That's so important for me. And I see that playing out time and time again. And now I just like automatically make decisions this way. It's become my go to now. So, what this means for me in my business, I avoid impulsive decisions, especially if it's regarding like a major investment. Recently, I've had this opportunity to work with a peer on like my leadership and speaking skills. And I noticed when I was at her event, I was so lit up inside about this opportunity. I told myself if I was still feeling that way after I got home that I would act on it. And a week later, I DM'd her and it was like, these nudges have been coming through loud and clear for me since your last event. And then she also came and spoke to our local female entrepreneur group like 6 months ago. And I felt that way after that as well. And I told her, like, the nudges have not gone away, which means I am meant to work with her. And that's exactly how I make decisions. It also says in my report, allow for a cooling off period to ensure that decisions are made with emotional clarity rather than temporary excitement or anxiety. That's so important for me, you guys. And then it says, encourage practices that allow time for reflection, such as journaling or discussing options with trusted advisors to gain different perspectives. That's now how I approach making decisions in business. And it has proven time and time again to be so powerful for me. So, really dig into your authority and how that impacts how you make decisions. That's so important. Another part of our chart is centers. So, centers are representations of how you utilize different energy flows. So, it's important to know in your report, if you download that 60-page report, it explains what centers are open or undefined in your chart and what that means for you. Ultimately, what this means is where you take in and amplify energy from others. So, again, that energy flow. For me, I've seen how this shows up in my life and in business. It definitely shows in how I take on other people's emotions or stress or energy. It's also led to how I then have learned to protect my energy now that I understand this. So for me, just to give you some examples, but I'm not going to dive into them because this is like it's like my head center is undefined. My throat center is defined, which interestingly enough, so your throat center represents communication and manifestation into action, which I'm a mindset and manifestation coach. Okay. So it says here you have a consistent way of expressing yourself. There is a natural drive to be heard and understood. Again, such validation that I'm meant to be speaking my truth. I'm meant to be behind a mic. Okay. Whether it's on stage or with the podcast, I need to be able to express myself. There's this natural drive that I carry to be heard and understood. That could not be more validating, you guys. It says here that a challenge for that is pressure to always speak or act immediately. Yes, so true for me. It says how to leverage this in business. Use your voice to clearly express your vision and lead. You can create a powerful brand by consistently communicating your message and intentions, which I do through the podcast. It says your ability to communicate makes your voice powerful and impactful. People are naturally drawn to your words and actions. So let your authenticity shine as you speak your truth, attracting opportunities and leading with clarity. That's so aligned for me, you guys. So dig into these centers because the validation you'll get from that is like on a whole nother level. It's so freaking powerful. Let's see. Some other centers for me are like the will or the ego or the heart center is defined. My emotional solar plexus center is defined. My sacral center is undefined. My spleen is undefined. So again, the 60-page report digs into like what this means for you. Spend some time on that because I guarantee it is going to be so eye-opening for you. My plan and how I've been doing this, I'm not fully through the 60 pages yet, but as I'm going through it, I'm taking sticky notes and writing notes for how I need to implement this in my business. And then take those sticky notes and I'm going to probably plug them into Claude or, yeah, probably Claude. That's the AI that I use. I'll probably plug it into there and just have it give me like a whole to-do list or roadmap for how to proceed from here. Another part of your chart that I will briefly talk about outside of the centers is the gates or channels. So your gates are like specific skills or gifts that you have that you need to be sharing with the world. So hello, it's like a no-brainer. Of course you want to dig into those, okay? So find out like what specific gates or channels stand out in your report and what do they mean for you and how you can then see them showing up in your work. And maybe, there's a gate for me. I haven't gotten to this part yet, but there might be a gate related to communication or leadership or manifestation or whatever it is for you. So like because I haven't dug into this, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but gates for me that I have the gate of self expression, communication. Hello. If you are new here, or if you're not new here, that probably is so obvious to you as well. What else? I have the gate of ordering, which means innovation and change. I have the gate of contribution or authenticity. That shows up time and time again for me. I have the gate of wanting or sensitivity. So being in tune with others' needs. That's me as a therapist in a nutshell. I have the gate of influence or leadership. Yes, I very much carry that. I would agree. I have the gate of privacy or retreat. That describes me personally in a rather big way. So again, like dive into these gates. It could be so interesting to you and probably extremely validating as well. Okay, going further into this, just to bring all of this together. So the other piece I didn't touch on yet before I say anything more is there's a part of your chart called environment, and the environment represents the vibe that you're most comfortable in and that people seek from you. So for me, my environment is valleys. And what this means is the most nurturing type of environment for you that will help you realize your potential as long as you follow your strategy and authority is one that is at street level where you can see what is happening and connect with who and what is around you. So the valley's environment is symbolic of flow and movement, especially when it comes to communication and ideas. So, this is something I've really been taking into consideration. It also explains in this report why clients are attracted to you based on your environment. And that's something you'll probably want to dig into. And I have started implementing how I offer things based on my environment and how I market things based off of my environment. And you should do the same. Okay. So, just to review for you, if you want to implement human design, you likely are going to approach business from an energy level that is not aligned for you. And for me, it was hustling when I'm not meant to hustle. That for me would mean leading to burnout. You will likely experience shame when something doesn't go well because you're not understanding your profile. You will likely say yes to everything and versus like honoring your energy levels. And you will likely try to be perfect when that might not be how you're supposed to be showing up in business or in the world. For me, after I implemented my human design, I started working with my energy more versus against it. I started waiting for those invitations and just focused on being visible and magnetic instead. I started experimenting without the shame that I was previously carrying. And I learned to set boundaries around projections and just owning my expertise without worrying about what other people thought about that. And then I made decisions aligned with my authority and just started trusting that more and more. All of these things combined have been a major game changer in my business, you guys. Major. And the result of all of this change is my business feels more aligned now than ever before. I am not burnt out and I don't foresee becoming burnt out. I am attracting more aligned clients, like the ones who actually get me and who are ready to work with me versus somebody I have to convince to work with me. And ultimately, I'm building something that's sustainable over time and also profitable, not solely one or the other. Okay, so how you can use human design in your business, even if you're not a projector 3-5 like me, ultimately, download this chart. First and foremost, you guys, I cannot emphasize the importance of that enough. It's free for now, but it's not going to be forever. Okay. Download your chart. And you don't have to use the spiritual business incubator through Anna Nichols, though I would recommend you do, but you don't have to. There's other like My Body Graphic or Genetic Matrix. There's other websites you can use to get a free chart. Once you get your chart, step 2, learn your type and strategy. This is the foundation, you guys. It's literally how you're designed to use your energy, how you're designed to move through the world. Get that information and start implementing it tomorrow or today. And then learn your authority. That's how you're designed to make decisions. You need to start trusting that because how you're designed to make decisions is not how everybody else is doing it. And it's not meant to be the same. Okay. And then immediately start applying these things to your business. Ask yourself, am I building my business in a way that honors my energy? Am I making decisions that aligns with my authority? Am I trying to be somebody that I'm not? Because that's what, quote, successful people do. So answer those questions honestly. And then lastly, just experiment. Well, I mean, if you're not a projector, maybe not, but experiment. Human design isn't about rigid rules, okay? It's about experimenting with what feels aligned and then just release what doesn't. That's what's important. Tune into your intuition and trust it, okay? Just some final thoughts I want to share with you guys. The biggest gift that human design gave me is literally, it was like a giant permission slip to stop trying to be somebody I'm not. It was a giant permission slip to rest when I need to rest. That's been huge for me. It was a giant permission slip to experiment. It was a giant permission slip to wait and be okay with waiting. Waiting has been a theme in so many different areas of my life. I can't even. That's wild. It's still wild to me that that comes through in my chart. And then implementing human design was a giant permission slip to build my way. And that has proven to have an ROI again and again and again. It's been so much abundance. So this is an invitation for you. You don't have to build your business the way everyone else does. You can build it in a way that honors your design, and you should. And it will feel so much better when you do. And if you want help with this, there's all kinds of like human design coaches out there. But if you want help with this, I'd be honored to help you with this, especially if it means preventing you from burnout. Again, your business does not have to look like anyone else's. You're building it according to your design. And when you do that, you guys, it becomes a business that is sustainable, soul aligned, and deeply fulfilling. And I have that now, and it's just the best feeling. And I want that for each of you. We all should wake up every day working in a business that feels fulfilling for us. You deserve that. Give yourself permission to do that. So again, human design is just a tool. It's not a box. We're not putting you in a box, okay? Use what resonates with you, leave what doesn't. Just experiment. And I really encourage you, if you haven't explored your human design yet, this is a permission slip to start. Even just knowing your type and your strategy can be a huge game changer. You don't have to dig into all of it. Just learn parts that you want to learn. And again, if you want to go deeper, work with someone like Anna Nichols, shout out to her program. It's amazing. Or if you want me to explore your chart with you, I'm happy to do that too. I'm not a human design coach, but I have incorporated it into my coaching business for people who want to dive into it together. Okay, so what I would love, if you listen to this episode, DM me your human design type. I would love to start a conversation with you about that. Okay. So DM me your type. And I'd love to know from you what you are and what from this episode resonated with you. And if you know someone who's burned out, trying to build their business, quote, the right way, send them to me or send this episode to them because this might be exactly what they need to hear. And if you want to learn how to build a business aligned with your human design, that's exactly what we do in my coaching. So let's talk. I would love to hear from you. You can do a one-off coaching call with me. I have my 12-week one-on-one coaching program. I also offer quarterly mentoring, which is 90 minutes each quarter working with me. And that currently is a $1,600 value. So it might bump up to $2,000 by the end of 2026. Okay. So those are all the ways you can work with me. You guys, if you haven't rated and reviewed the podcast, please take a minute to do that. It literally takes like 5 seconds. Okay. Rate and review. Send me a DM when you do. I'll give you a shout out in a future episode. And if you want to go deeper on any of this, subscribe to my weekly newsletter and we go a little bit deeper than we do in the podcast episodes. So feel free to subscribe. Awesome. You guys have a great rest of your week. I can't wait to talk to you guys all next week.
Real quick before you go, I just want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And congratulations on showing up for you. Every step you take to invest in yourself brings you that much closer to your next level self, and I'm so proud of you. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration, or take a screenshot and tag me on social so we can keep spreading the next level you energy. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Let's freaking go!